welcome back everyone to another episode of Football Focus SG podcast with myself, Ice, and Mr. JB. Mr. JB, how are you doing today?
Yep, I'm doing good. How are you?
Football has been good. We have SPL happening. We have upcoming EPL. EPL have not started yet as of our recording, and a lot of thing happening. And not to mention Olympic is happening as well. So we have sports everywhere. And sports doesn't stop. It seems, and I hope football has been treating you well, Mr. JB.
Yeah, it's been good, because we kind of get the Copa America and the Euros,
Yeah.
and then at the same time it's the Olympics. Also have some football. So yeah, not too bad, not too bad.
Yeah, yeah. So, for today's episode, guys, we're actually gonna try do our best to do a bit of a roundup for footballs that we have come across and see, which is most likely the Singapore Premier League. We have the Euros, and of course, the madness of transfers happening in our Premier League as well that we always keep up. And like what Mr. JB said, after the Euros and Copa America finished, we did look through a couple of those, and I think we did review for the Euros. We predicted England to be in the final for fun, and they ended up there for real. So that was funny. And like Copa America, I think was a very interesting one. Argentina won again. Special mention to that, which I don't think we did get to mention. Yeah, so hope you guys do enjoy for today's episode. So Mr. JB, let's start off with our first topic of the day. We have our current SPL that we are looking at the moment. So our current SPL, very, very again, like we said this many, many times, despite only 9 teams in our SPL, it is by far the most confusing and unpredictable league we can ever predict. I mean, you can agree with that, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it has always been every season. It has been the most difficult time to predict. Yes, that I agree.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, right now we look at the table as of recording. We are currently into game week 11 or 12 in our SPL now. If you look at the table real quick, there are a couple of changes since we last saw. There are a couple. I believe the last that we recorded, I think Albirex was like dead last or eight or nine, somewhere there. Young Lions was like six. Hougang was last, I believe, at one point. I think. Yeah, I think Albirex was like eight, Hougang was nine, trying to find their first win of the season, I think. And Young Lions was above, flying. Geylang and Tampines were unbeaten at one point, and now Geylang has been beaten since we recorded it. So I think looking at the table now, a lot has changed, but one thing remains the same, which is the top two of Tampines and Lion City Sailors. Mr. JB, my first question to you, is this going to be a two-horse race now?
Well, I still feel it's quite early because I'm not sure how many rounds the SPL will be playing this time. I
Mm-hmm.
think it should be the same like the last round where I think they meet at least what 6 times, is it, or is it 5 times? I can't recall. But yeah, I think well, looking at it, it seems like eventually it will be a two-horse race. But I think for now it's still pretty much
Early, yeah.
yeah, pretty much early, and at the same time I feel Lion City Sailors isn't getting up to speed yet.
Yeah.
I mean, they still drop points and stuff, but lately, I think so far the past two games, they have been quite dominant. So yeah, so we'll see how best they can grind out results.
Yeah.
And at the same time, Tampines is also the next favorites.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, other than that, the rest of the teams all doesn't look like they will challenge for the title. I mean,
Yeah.
no
I mean,
offense
I
to the
think
rest. Yeah.
according to our predictions, I believe we did
Mm-hmm.
our SPL predictions. Like I
Yeah.
predicted Tampines to win, you predicted Lion City Sailors to win. And right
Sure.
now, these two are the ones are racing for the title at the moment. But again, like what you said, it's still very early. And right now, Tampines is the only team to have not been beaten so far. And I mean, Geylang, who tried their best as much as they can, unfortunately, they lost to Hougang, and Hougang, who was looking for their first win of the season, ended up getting 3 wins in the last 4 games, aside the 7-1 trashing over LCS. But they see themselves from 9th to 5th. And Balestier has been consistently third and fourth with Geylang around there, but now they're just maintaining fourth all the way. Young
Yes.
Lions seems to drop off, like 5th, 6th to 7th.
Mm-hmm.
Albirex, who was like struggling, but I guess they still are. They are currently same points with Young Lions. And then we have Brunei DPMM and Tanjung Pagar to round up the last two. Are you surprised with any of these positions so far on the table? Like which one surprises you? Or if there is like which one that actually catches your eye or intrigue you in this table right now? Like which team performing well, which team isn't? What's your
Yeah.
like short take on this?
Yeah. Well, for me, I think I'm quite disappointed with Hougang. I think they are one of my favorites. I think when I did predict
Yeah, you,
early
you
on.
put them third, I believe.
Yeah. 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 But I believe
But they're fifth now, so
yeah, exactly. I mean, it kind of have a slow start, lah, I would say.
yeah,
Pretty slow start. I mean, I would say a very bad start at first, and then now they're slowly picking up.
yeah,
So yeah, I believe they are the ones, and also the other one surprising is obviously LB Rex. Uh, very very poor. I was expecting the change to be that much, and
yeah,
believe it or not, they are the first team to actually change the coach, I believe, this season
yeah.
already. So yeah, so I believe they are the ones, and of course, the one that caught my eye was the short stint of how good Young Lions managed to churn out some surprising results. I believe that is also something that's worth talking about as well.
True, true.
Um, yeah, and also Geylang. I think Geylang also kind of push a bit better. I'm also happy to see Balestier as well, pushing a little bit better. No longer that kind of team where they're just like you can just steamroll us, but no, now they're showing that they are no longer pushovers.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, yeah, but I believe the only one that kind of struggle a little bit is probably Tanjong Pagar at this point. So yeah, but that's my take on it. Yeah.
Right. I mean, personally, I think for me as well, yeah, other than the top two aside, the rest has been still, just kind of up and down there, just trying to find their, I guess, the rightful spot, but I don't really see them challenging much for the top two yet. Probably somewhere towards the middle or towards the end of the season where, because season is always a marathon, right? It's not a sprint. So right now you may look good now, but you're gonna have a bad blip of form at some point. And this where like lower end teams like Albirex right now who is below there, Tanjong Pagar, Hougang, Balestier, these are all trying to get the trying to get the points and so that they can push themselves up to be closer there. And I think the one like what you have mentioned, Young Lions has been the most surprising one. Decent. Hougang, initially I was so surprised that they couldn't get a win, but now they do, and they slowly trying to get their act together again, which is good. Geylang, disappointing to have their first loss, but then again, they drew way too many games, and I think they deserve the third spot. I'll be honest with you. They work hard. I truly believe, like the credits to them. I think our prediction we didn't put them as high as third at all, probably. And yeah, I think probably the most disappointing one is still has to be like Tanjong Pagar. Like they have the players sometimes, but they just could not get the results. They score a lot, but they concede a lot. That's always been them every single season. But we'll see how it is. So moving on now to our next football segment of tournaments that we have been watching and seeing throughout is the Olympics, Summer Olympic Paris 2024. And this time we're strictly talking about football, not talking about like any other sport event, unfortunately. But the Football Olympics has over. Spain under 23 lifted the gold, as in the gold medal, France getting the silver medal, and Morocco getting the bronze. Now, Mr. JB, we just covered Euros earlier. Spain won Euros. And now Summer Olympics, Spain under 23 won. How frightening is this Spain future football gonna be? in the next coming tournaments or the
Yeah,
next
for
3 years.
sure. I think they are the nation to beat right now. I think both in Europe and the world, because I think they managed to get the right formula in terms of their youths. But if you look at the team that is in Euros, it's a very good balance of youth and senior players.
Yeah,
And and the Olympics is, a group of under 23s. So yeah, I do believe that they are in really, really good hands in terms of football. And yeah, it is really scary, as you pointed out correctly, because the rest of the other I mean, if you're just looking at Europe, like the rest of Europe nations in terms of footballing wise,
Mhm.
aren't looking too good at the moment. Like if you recall, in the Euros, Italy kind of struggle.
yeah,
Uh, France as well. Not doing too well, but managed to scrape past the tournament as well. So
yeah.
yeah, so I would say, I would give full credit to Spain for both the Euros and the Olympics. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, I think what's more impressive is that I guess the opponent that they beat as well is quite credible. I mean, no disrespect to France. I think France did really, really well. Again, they look like one of those teams that has a depth in squad that can go a long way. I believe they knock out Argentina in the Olympic, which I believe he ended up in a fight or somehow, but they won 1-0, I believe. And then before winning Egypt in the semi-final and then losing to Spain in a thrilling final, by the way. It was like 5-3 after extra time. Spain, on the other hand, they win Japan, they win Morocco. Morocco has been very impressive, by the way, in this Olympic, but unfortunately, they lost only by 2-1. Like I believe it was like a last minute goal by Spain. Um, if you look at the knockout rounds, like we have like the France, Argentina, Egypt, Morocco, Spain, Japan, USA, and Paraguay also were inside. So when you look at this, the Summer Olympic in general, I know yes, it's not really taken seriously as other football tournaments because it's like a mix of young and old and experimenting and stuff like that. But like I just want to know your opinion, other than France and Spain, who has been like the dominant of football so far. Which other team that kind of caught your eye in this Summer Olympic football?
Okay. Well, looking at the Olympics, yeah, I would say Morocco and Egypt, I guess.
Hmm.
These two are definitely the underdog going to the tournament.
Yeah.
Um, Argentina was quite a disappointing look overall, I feel.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, because especially, I mean, that's the thing, because if you look at the two contrasting nations, Spain and Argentina, right?
Hmm.
Spain is obviously winners of Euro, and Argentina is obviously winner of Copa. So
Yep.
people tend to draw that kind of comparison, and unfortunately, the Argentina youth team fell a bit short.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, but again, I mean, this is a total different team, so perhaps the comparison isn't fair. But yeah, but overall, I mean, I kind of expected more from Argentina, and of course, the Olympics. Not much teams, I would say. There's only two groups, right?
Yeah.
In this entire Olympic tournament. So yeah, I mean, not much choices. I was just, no, I'm sorry. There's only four groups. Yes, correct. Yeah,
Yeah. There's only four groups. Yeah.
yeah. That's right. There's only four groups. I was also surprised by Japan. I thought they did quite well in the group stage. They were unbeaten,
Yeah.
and I think they won all of their group games. So yeah, but I would say that in terms of how far the tournament went through, I think Morocco and Egypt showed that yeah, they can actually stand with the best of the best at the moment. Uh, yep, but I do feel that France is a little bit disappointing a little bit as well, because they are the home favorites and all that. But I guess it is what it is. When you go to the finals.
Yeah.
Uh, yep, a positive way to look at it is, instead of you losing the final, at least you win the silver medalist. So
Yeah, yeah, that's true. I think personally, I think you covered it very well there. I think yes, both Egypt and Morocco being the only two African countries to be in the semi-final of Olympics, that's already, difficult, because it's not easy to play in this kind of a tournament because you won't really know much of your opponent well. You won't. You just kind of go as you went, and to be fair, Egypt, they are the only team to win Spain in this tournament. They won Spain in the group stage. I think Spain only gone through the group stage via second place, and then they face Japan and all that. So yeah, um, so all in all, actually, if Spain were to be first, then Egypt on the other end, Spain would have probably meet France or Argentina in the semis, and then we'll have like the final of like maybe Morocco or Japan or whoever or Paraguay maybe. But yeah, like they deserve the credit, I think, for Egypt and Morocco, and special mention as well, I guess Paraguay as well for being there. Argentina, like what you said, kind of poor, but their matches is filled with controversy almost every single game it seems. Uh, and Japan, I guess, slightly underwhelming, but you know what? It's Olympic. We can't say much. We can't say much. Now, moving on, Mr. JB, to basically our final topic of the day. EPL is coming back, Mr. JB. Yes, as of recording now, Community Shield has happened. How are you feeling?
Well, the results not so good, but overall, I'm not, how, how do I put it? I'm not so disappointed in the team lah. So far, yeah, I mean, there are a lot of positives
Yeah,
to the match. So
I
yeah, so
think
I'm quite,
personally, yeah, the Community Shield. I mean, yes, this is spoiler alert for people who see this. Man City versus Man United in the Community Shield. Man City did win only via penalties, but no disrespect to Man United. They perform actually really, really well for this game. I think if anything, they have more XG, if I'm not wrong. They love to follow this XG nowadays, based on your number of shots or on target or how much of a threat you are over to the opponent. Man City were nowhere near that, in this game. And yeah, like it's only down to the penalties, which I mean, unfortunate to the two guys who missed. Jadon Sancho, your man is back. So that's one. And we also have your man as well, Johnny Evans, missing as well. So I mean, it's going to show, right? I mean, you're not too down by it, but you're more looking for the performance. Am I right to say that?
yeah, definitely. And I think, when you face a team like Man City or Liverpool, the rivalry is still there. Yeah, I mean, some people will say, yeah, it's just a shield, it's just a glorified friendly. Um, but end of the day, it is football, and you always want to win, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, so I believe that is the correct mindset to go into it. So yeah, I mean, of course, penalty is you know, it's anybody's game for the penalty, and yeah, I kind of pity Sancho because he missed the spot kick at the same venue back in Euros.
Yep.
The last Euro or the last two
It seems
Euros, I
to
think
haunt
it
him
was on.
now every
Yep,
now and then.
that's
So
right. But to be fair to him, the goalkeeper saved his shot. So not saying that he fluffed it or he kind of ballooned it. No, that's not the case. The goalkeeper actually get a good hand of it, and then the ball kind of hit the post, and it went out.
yeah, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. And as for Johnny Evans, well, uh, when I
Yeah,
wasn't confident at all already.
yeah, but that's okay. I mean, I guess to summarize it up, you are quite satisfied with the performance. We're not
Yep.
going to give our prediction yet, ladies and gentlemen, because that's where our part two is going to come in, where I mean, we both, myself and Mr. JB, are going to do predictions of our EPL like what we used to every single year. But this time, we're not just going to say only relegation and like Champions League Europa spot. This time, we're going to do from 1 to 20 using the tier list maker. So hope you guys do stick around. So now, Mr. JB, aside from Community Shield, I mean, what else is happening in EPL? Well, transfers are happening, of course. A lot of things happening. We're gonna go through it, not just the players and we're gonna go through players and managers that are coming in and out from the Premier League. We're gonna run through it real quick for every single team. Maybe we can give ratings if you want to. I'll try to put it in as well. I'll just give the major names of major players who left, major player who come in. We're gonna give a number and then That's it, you know? So that's our transfer review that we're going to try to do. Of course, yes, there are some more transfers happening. As of recording, we're still only like the midweek of August. Still have like 2 to 3 weeks left before the transfer window shut, but we have to do predictions before the EPL itself starts. So, Mr. JB, are you ready to crack down on the transfer windows?
Yep, let's go.
All right. So, starting off, we have Arsenal, of course. Um, Players who left are nothing major so far ish, but a few mentions will be like, okay, El Neni was being released, Cedric Soares released, but the main one that left is Emil Smith Rowe, transfer out to Fulham at the moment. That's the only major selling, but the transfer that Arsenal has made so far is only two major signings. One is David Raya, which we make permanent signing from loan of Brentford to Arsenal now becoming permanent, and Ricardo Calafiori from Bologna. What did you make of it so far? You know what? I'll give my rating first for this since it's Arsenal. But we sell Smith Rowe for a decent amount. Calafiori and David Raya coming in. I mean, David Raya, of course, has shown and proven that he can be Arsenal number one. No offense to Ramsdale, but he was the most clean sheet uh, Golden Glove for the Premier League. And I think as of now, it is a decent slash quiet transfer window. I'm gonna give it at least a 6/10 at the moment. Just a 6/10. David Raya is a major signing. Calafiori, we do not know how he's gonna do well in EPL. Emil Smith Rowe, we do not know how is he gonna impact in Arsenal because everyone say that he's gonna be there with Saka as our main players, but Saka is, Smith Rowe is not. So it's all kind of see how. So I can only judge Raya as a main one. But Mr. JB, what do you make of it?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, Raya has proven himself, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, so he kind of deserve it. But yeah, I'm a little bit surprised by Arsenal's transfer. This time I think it's a little slow.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it doesn't. I mean, so far the signing that they made, the Italian guy, what's his name?
Calafiori.
Yeah. So far, I'm not sure whether how decent he is, but yeah, I believe that is not bad. But I think at the end of the day, it feels like perhaps Arsenal may need a striker. I feel.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
truly feel like we do need another striker. But like anyone right now in mind, it's difficult because right now I think right now Arsenal is planning to sign a midfielder at the moment, Mikel Merino, which seems to be close to closing the deal out already. But that's not a striker, that's also another midfield. So I don't know. We'll see what Arteta and Edu is cooking with Arsenal. But what would you rate Arsenal transfer so far?
Yeah, I would say 5.
5. All right. You know
I'd
what?
say
Fair
5
enough.
out of 10. Yeah.
Fair enough. Next up, we have Aston Villa. Again, Aston Villa has very interesting signings happening. I'm not sure whether you know, but I'll let you know right now. So we'll go with the transfer out first. They let go Coutinho on loan. So Coutinho is out of Aston Villa on loan back to Vasco da Gama. They released like Callum Chambers. One of their major sell was Musa Diaby, which is very surprising because Musa Diaby, I mean, those people who play FPL, Fantasy Premier League, would know how good this guy is in the Fantasy Premier League. But just one season in Aston Villa and is now in Al Ittihad. So that's one of the major outs. And also another major out, which is a bit of a swap transfer, which is Douglas Luiz leaving Aston Villa to Juventus and Juventus giving them two players, which is Enzo Baronecchia and Samuel Ealing Jr. So now we're going to the ins. Samuel Ealing Jr. and Baronecchia from Juventus as part of the exchange with Douglas Luiz. And they signed Ross Barkley from Luton permanently. They signed Cameron Archer, and one of their main signing is Amadou Onana from Everton. So Mr. JB, I'll let you go first. What would you rate this?
Yeah, I would say not bad, but yeah, I mean, it is quite surprising that they kind of let go some of the best players.
Yeah,
But I mean, just looking at it, I mean, the fact that they got Champions League, right? So
yeah,
yeah, so definitely, I feel that they'll definitely have to bring in some names. But overall, I think not too bad. Not too bad. I would give it probably a 6.
Yeah, you know what? I'll agree with 6 as well. I actually thought of giving 6. I mean, only because that, yes, while Amadou Onana is a good signing, but we all know it's a one-to-one replacement of Douglas Luiz. So, Douglas Luiz is gone, so Onana replaced as a good replacement. But Musa Diaby is gone, and they only bring in 2 players from Juventus, which are not proven or well-known yet. Samuel Ealing Jr., potential. Enzo Baronecchia, potential, but these are risky move, that they made, and I think 6 would be a decent score for now because the selling of Diaby still shocks me, but having Onana really saves them. If they haven't signed Onana or Barkley yet, I think this will be a very bad window so far for them. But yeah, we'll go with 6. Next up, Bournemouth. Bournemouth. Okay, let's go with the outs. Any major ones? Oh, Lloyd Kelly, I believe, was out. I think he left for Newcastle. They release Lloyd Kelly. I think is one of the major ones. I think. Oh, and the major one. How can I forget? This just happened just yesterday or a few days ago. Dominic Solanke joining Tottenham Hotspur, from Bournemouth. And of course, they haven't signed any replacement for their striker yet because again, they just sold their striker 1-2 days ago. Again, transfer window are still open at the moment. Um, I think they made confirm of Luis Sinisterra, Enis Unal. These are their signings so far, but I'm gonna start first with this. Of course, if they don't replace Dominic Solanke, this is just a flat out 4 or 5. But if they can get something good, then it'll be great. But if not, it's just a flat out 4 or 5. Mr. JB, what about you?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I definitely agree with that one. I think, yeah, I mean, definitely losing a striker like Solanke, who did very well last season, I would say. And it's kind of expected that, yeah, some of the teams may want him. So yeah, but I would say yes. I mean, I have to agree with you. Probably a 4, unless they manage to sign someone to replace them. Probably, pro- probably rank them higher.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. All right, moving on to Brentford. Now Brentford has a few players who left already based on last season. So they like Sergio Reguilon is back to Spurs on loan, because the loan finish. No more is not at Brentford anymore. Loan finish. Their major transfer outs are David Raya to Arsenal, which you mentioned. Strakosha. Basically, they sold away 2 of their goalkeepers away, and no transfer in at the moment, which is scary if you ask me. I think they have Igor Thiago. I believe they signed from Club Brugge, but again, we don't know much about that guy. So if you ask me, the selling of David Raya is bad, but so far, I'm still gonna give props to Brentford for holding on to Ivan Toney. If they can hold Ivan Toney, it's a win for them. But if they don't, I mean, transfer is still open at the moment, but it seems like it's not leaving. There's no transfer news about Ivan Toney. I'll give this a 4. Maybe 3 because if they don't sign anybody, but at the moment, very quiet 4 because David Raya soul is big for them. Strakosha, not their main goalkeeper, but second choice. But again, they need a replacement. And the only plus sign is just keeping Tony. So, Mr. JB, what about you?
Yeah, definitely. I think Tony is one of those that they really have to keep. But I don't know, man. Just looking at it, it doesn't. It feels like he might go off somewhere. So yeah,
Yeah,
so we'll see. But yeah, but I have to agree with you on that one.
yeah. All right. So let's go on to Brighton next. Brighton, which we're gonna rate a little bit different here because they have a new manager coming in, which is by the way the youngest Premier League manager in history now. I could not remember the name. Let me just look up at the name real quick. Um, because I don't think we know much about him yet, but he seems to be like the next uh you know hot prospect of manager. His name is, there we go, Fabian Herzler, who, they got over from St. Pauli of Bundes. Let's look at the transfer out again. Their major transfer out is Pascal Gross, who has always been decent for Brighton every now and then. Almost every season he's been around. He has left to go to Borussia Dortmund. Other than that, Lalana they release, really, there isn't much of who they sell, but who they bring in, which is like a young Kuba Minte, who is like a hot prospect of a player from Newcastle. The Newcastle signed last season, but did not use him at all. So sold it to Brighton. And other than that, they only signed Dennis Undev, and that's about it so far. So, Mr. JB, what would you rate Brighton?
I would say average, probably a 4 or 5. Uh,
Yeah,
I think losing out to Gross is quite a big loss there. I feel
yeah,
he's one of the better performers last season.
that's true. That's
Um, but I mean, the same case with any of those teams out there. If you have someone performing, the big clubs are definitely coming for them. So yeah,
all right. Now, moving on to probably the most hectic, craziest club that I've ever seen, Chelsea. In every, I'm not even gonna go through who are the outs and the ins. Okay, they have way too many. So I'm sure you've seen the news, Mr. JB. Just give me the rating for Chelsea so far.
I tell you, it's crazy. If I can give -1, I would do that because it seems like I don't know. It seems like a kid in a candy store. Like they just buy anyone and anyhow, and then they just get rid of anyone and anyhow. Like
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
I'm not even, I don't think I can even rate this window because, okay, the people that went out are like a lot as well of the players, and the players that came in are a lot as well. So it's like, and we have new manager, which is Maresca, by the way. Uh,
Yes, I feel. I mean, to be honest, I feel their biggest transfer mistake is getting rid of Pochettino. I feel that is the mistake.
yep, that's
And then
true.
other than that, I don't know. I just wasn't interested after that because yeah, they were just buying left, right,
Ah,
center. I believe now I think what they have a 40-man squad or something at the moment. I have no
yeah,
idea.
they have
Uh,
46 right now.
exactly. Look at that. I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, I would
Not
love to
even
see what's
my
gonna happen.
school classroom has that much, but
You know what
Chelsea
I'm
has.
saying? Exactly. So I don't know, man. I mean, the fact that even Lukaku is so called back, but I don't think he wants to come back. Yeah,
I
man.
don't
I mean,
know.
they really have a lot of issues to fix there, especially under the new manager. So
Yeah,
yeah, we'll
big,
see.
big issues to deal with. I
Yep.
mean, okay, fine. You know what? I'm really gonna I really want to say non-applicable because how do you even read this? But if I were to give something, I'm just gonna flat out give 5. Not because I'm not impressed with your signing. Trust me, Chelsea signing has been amazing, but the people that left is also amazing. The manager's new, everybody's new. I don't think this transfer is gonna work. While you guys sign everyone that's good, yes, by paper, but just like last season, it did not go out well. But this is gonna be Chelsea's first season in Europa League, I believe. They are playing in Europa League. So I guess they do need a squad for it. No, they can make they can make 4 squads with this team here. But yeah, I'll give a flat out 5. Moving on to Crystal Palace now. Crystal Palace, which I think last season, me and Mr. JB, we both talk about how amazing they were. And, Oliver Glasner is going to bring them up to the next level if they can keep some of their best players. Unfortunately, one of their best players have left, which is Michael Olise leaving for Bayern Munich. Flat out. I mean, that is probably understandable on Crystal Palace end because, having that kind of money, Bayern Munich coming to buy, I don't think they're gonna say no. But we'll see who they bring in. So far, the one that they bring in so far, I mean, I'll name the 2 major ones, which is Daichi Kamada, all the way from Lazio, which Oliver Glasner has experience uh, with the player. I believe during the Bundesliga, I believe was it like Frankfurt or something like that. Yeah, and then they signed Michael Lise's replacement, I would say, in the wing, Ismaila Sarr from Marseille. So this man came back from the previous, when the days of Watford that he played really well. He's back in Crystal Palace. I'm actually gonna give this a Olise could be a big loss, but Ismail Assar is decent. So I'm actually gonna give a 6 so far for this. Mr. JB, what about you?
Yeah, well, I also heard rumors that they're trying to get Zaha back.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You know
There are
what? If they
some
get Zaha back, I'm bumping it up to 7 or 8, man.
exactly. But I don't know. But I think a few days ago or something, I'm not sure whether the deal have collapsed or is it still in talks. But
Oh,
yeah. I mean, I have to agree with you. I think you can easily bump that if they get Zaha back. But yeah, but I was really very impressed with them. Towards the end of last season, very excited. Look forward to see them and how they actually adapt in the upcoming league. Yeah,
yeah.
looking forward to it.
What would you rate?
Yeah, I would say the same as you. Probably a 6.
All right. So now we're halfway now through the team. This is, I believe, our number 10 team. Everton. Your favorite team, Everton. I mean, part of your favorite team, who went through so much emotional roller coaster with in and outs of the points deduction and all that. This is their time to try again to stay up. But at the moment, their major outs is Amadou Onana, and their transfer in is Jake O'Brien from Lyon. Um, a guy named Ilman Ndiaye, and like they loan in Jack Harrison from Leeds. That's about it. If you ask me, Onana is a very big loss. And their hope of Jake O'Brien to replace, because Jake O'Brien is a defender slash defensive mid, maybe. It's a bit of a stretch, but not too impressed. I'm actually giving it a 4. What about you, Mr. Yuri? Mr. JB?
Oh, okay. Yes. I'm sorry. I was on mute. My bad. I thought I was on live. Yeah. Yeah. So as I was saying, yes. I agree with you. Yes, probably a 4 because the ins doesn't look so good. The outs also doesn't look too good, especially when you're losing your key players or important players for last season.
Yeah,
Um. So yeah. So I would have to give like a 4 probably.
4. All right. Okay, now moving on to Fulham. Fulham, their major outs is the one of the major ones is Joao Palhinha, who last season supposed to leave but he didn't. He stayed professional. He played for Fulham again, but this time he get his dream move. He's out to go to Bayern Munich for Palhinha. But their transfer ins has been interesting. They signed Iman Smith-Rowe, which we mentioned from Arsenal. They signed Cuenca from Villarreal, and the return signing of Ryan Sessegnon, which we all know he made famous and break through the scene of the Premier League thanks to Fulham, and now he's back in Fulham. I'm actually giving this a I'm actually giving this a 5. I mean, Paulinho is a major loss, but Smith Rowe is injury prone, as what Arsenal fans would know. And Ryan Sessegnon has become injury prone ever since he joined Spurs. So hoping on Cuenca is the only one. So I'm just gonna give a 5 for now. Mr. JB?
Yeah. I would say 5 is quite accurate. Yeah. I mean the ins not bad. Return of some players, but yeah, again losing your key player out, you
Yeah,
gotta have some replacement there.
yeah, that's true. And moving on to the newly promoted team, Ipswich Town. I don't think we know anyone who is major other than Sonia Aluko, who is retired. But other than that, their main signings in is Muric, the goalkeeper from Burnley. They signed some youths from Man City like Liam Delap, Omari Hutchinson from Chelsea, Ben Johnson from West Ham, the defender. Decent. I'm actually giving this at least a 6. They actually try. I'm pretty sure their budget's not a lot. Signing players or from the bigger teams, youngsters who has potential but does not have the game time can actually shine here in Ipswich. I think it's a decent window so far. But what about you?
Yeah, decent, probably, but you know, some of the names I'm not that familiar with, so yeah, we'll definitely need to see how the new season turn out. But yeah, I have to agree with you on that one.
Right. Next up is another of the newly promoted team, which is, I believe this is official, your second favorite team, Leicester City. Now, players who went out, and okay, right now they are in a bit of a mess, if you ask me. Their manager left, which is Enzo Maresca. And these are the players who left. Mark Albrighton, which is okay to be fair, old veteran. Dennis Pride, which is is okay. And then you have Kelechi Iheanacho, who is out as well, released for free. And of course, their major selling is Kiernan Dewsbury Hall from Leicester to Chelsea, one of their major players for the championship. He's out. And their signing so far is just Bobby Cordova Reed, which is one of the main ones. Some guy from Sporting Lisbon, Abdul Fatawu. I guess he's decent. A guy from Atalanta, Caleb Okoli, maybe. But if you ask me, this is a flat out three, only because their manager's out. All the players are not proven. Their main players who play for the championship are out. This is going to be a rough season for them. But what do you think, Mr. J?
Well, at least the most important player is still there.
Jamie Vardy? Yeah.
Yep, that's right. Yeah, at least they didn't lose Jamie Vardy. So there's a little bit of nostalgia there, a little bit, Leicester City hero is still there. So,
Yeah, yeah.
but yeah, yeah, I mean, I agree. In terms of business wise, not looking too good. I'll probably give a 4.
Before, all right. Okay. Next up, which is one of the big guns here, Liverpool, who released Joe Matip, released Thiago Alcantara, released Adrian, the goalkeeper, and they have not signed anybody in this window so far. I mean, at the moment, if you ask me, okay, yeah, sure, you keep hold of Salah, all the main players like Nunes, Dominic Soboslai, and yada yada. They still have the core, like Trent Alexander-Arnold, Robertson, Allison, Van Dyke. Their core is still there. Not say that they don't need to sign anybody, but if we are just rating the transfer window itself, this is just a flat out 0, really, or 1, because they don't sign anybody. They just sell or let go players who are not gonna play or injury prone. They are just thinning out their squad, which is the biggest concern because if they have injuries, their squad depth is gonna come into question. So at the moment, I'm just gonna give it a 0 or 1. What about
Yeah,
you?
yeah, yeah. I agree. It has to be a 0 or 1 because yes, you put it out quite clearly there. Yes, you kind of retain your players, as much as you can, but there are still some outs.
Yeah,
And yep, trust me, squad depth is as important right now. Of course, not kind of. I mean, we're not talking about Chelsea squad depth, right? That's a total different situation. But yeah, but you have to start buying players, uh,
yeah,
especially for a club like Liverpool, who obviously wants to contend and fight for the title. Uh, you definitely need some signing there. So yeah, it'll be pretty interesting to see. I mean, there's still time for transfers to happen, so we'll see how it goes.
yeah. I mean, yeah, we'll see how it goes. Next up is the champions themselves, Manchester City, also known as the Community Shield champion as well. Uh, they have not much of a transfer out or transfer in. One of the major outs is Sergio Gomez, officially out, which is from their youth academy. And then they signed one player so far, which is Savinio or Savio, who they signed from, I believe, Troyes or Troyes, or I don't know where it is. I mean, okay, they actually signed from Girona, but for some reason there are loans and all in between. So I'm not sure where, because for some reason the Premier League, right, on the official website, they put him as Savinio, but he's not playing in Girona. But if you look at the proper, like the player itself and all, that player is from Girona, the one that did really well in La Liga last season. He had a very great season there, and I think he's definitely gonna flourish in Man City squad. They have not sold anyone else. You know, they keep the players like Jack Grealish, Doku, Foden, De Bruyne, all, you know. So if you ask me, having Savio or Savinho is just an additional add-on. So you know what? I'm just gonna give it a 5. This is just, you know, a backup play over a backup. So yeah. What about you?
Yeah, I would say it's a 5. Yeah, they kind of release backup players like Julian Alvarez. I believe, not
Yeah.
getting that much game time.
Oh yeah. Julian Alvarez left to Atletico Madrid. Yeah, that's one of the major ones. Yeah.
hmm Yeah, but I think he's more like a rotation player last season, I believe. So I believe he wants the game time. That's why he go to Atletico. But I mean, just looking at the fact that he goes to Atletico, I'm not sure whether he will get game time there. Probably. But the competition is quite strong right now at Atletico Madrid. But that's for another time. Uh, yeah. Other than that, yes, I would say 5 for me.
All right. Next up, of course, your team, Manchester United, and this have something to talk about in transfer rather than like not much going on, not much going on. This right here is a proper transfer window. So let's see other outs, the major ones. Rafael Varane, release. Martial, release. Donny van de Beek, sold. Mason Greenwood, sold. And the one that comes in, we have Lenny Yoro from Lille, Joshua Zirkzee from Bologna. We have also just confirmed yesterday or earlier today, uh, Matthias Delight from Bayern Munich and Nosar Mazrui from Bayern Munich is joining Manchester United as well. Wow. What would you rate this so far?
Yeah, so far so good. I mean, I'm quite impressed by um the new owners, Ineos. Uh, so far, I believe this season, even though I kind of wish the the latest deals would have been done much earlier,
Mm-hmm.
but they still managed to get it done. So I'm still quite happy with that. The only thing I'm not so happy is the outs. Actually, I expected more players to go out. Uh,
Okay.
yeah, that's right. Especially those deadwoods that we've been talking about. Don't know after how many seasons. So yeah, but other than that, I think in terms of signing wise, not too bad. Um, although I do feel that we need to get at least one proper central mid and probably one more striker. Uh, that is,
Mm.
if you ask me as a Man United fan, I believe we still need these two positions to be strengthened. Uh, yeah, but I know there are some people would say, well, we already signed Zirkzee. Uh,
Yeah.
but Zirkzee is not a true striker. It's about a false.
He's a
He's,
false
he's
nine.
exactly, yeah.
I
He's more
mean,
of a
then you
false
have
nine
your
kind of player.
Nuzai Mazrui, who's coming in from
Exactly.
Bayern Munich as well. He's a midfield-ish.
Yeah, that's right. So the fact that Martial's gone, uh, and recently we got the bad news that Hoyland's injured as well. So
Yeah.
yeah, I do feel that having a proper striker is good, but I can understand because if you look at it right now, especially across the world of football at the moment, there isn't much a good natural striker.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that's the position that's kind of lacking now, but I believe it's the evolution of the game a little bit that right now people rather use a false nine
Yeah.
rather than an out and out striker.
Yeah.
But yeah, but we'll see. But for me at the moment as a Man United fan, I will give this at least a 7.
Yeah.
Because we really need to strengthen our defense, and that's exactly what we did.
You know what? Yeah, I mean, I actually, in my head all the way, I've been saying 7, you know, because all the one that you release or let go are the players who are not in the plan or just not interested or just deadwood. Sure, there are still some more, but you guys get rid of quite a number, you know, like what I mentioned earlier. But you guys bring in also a couple, hopefully not deadwood, but could be something that is, you know, added value to the team. Now,
Yeah.
moving on to Newcastle. I'll be honest with you, they only signed Lloyd Kelly, like I mentioned earlier, and so Yankuba Minte to Brighton, and they signed John Ruddy, who is a very old goalkeeper, and that's about it. So
And
if you ask
that's
me, flat out, with the money that they have from the owner, This is easily 2 out of 10 if you ask me.
Yeah. It has to be a 2. I have to agree. Pretty poor, for what they can do so far.
Yeah. But hopefully, Eddie Howe knows what to do with it. All right. So next up is Nottingham Forest. They have finished most of their loans they loan a lot of players like Giovanni Reina from Dortmund. They loan Divock Origi, Montiel, Nuno Tavares. Then they released Checo Kuyate and Felipe and all that. But who have they signed so far? A guy named Eric da Silva Moreira from St. Pauli. They have signed, I believe, a guy from Fiorentina, Nikola Milenkovic. And that's pretty much it. I think Jota Silva also was the most recent one. I'll give this as a 4. I'll be honest with you. They are trying their best to survive, and I think most of the time they are hoping on their loans. They have a lot of transfer and release. This is gonna be another struggling season for them, but I'm just giving it a 4 for now. What about you?
Yeah, I agree. Definitely looks like a 4. And yep, seems like they're gonna have a long season ahead of them.
Yeah. Now, next up, the final promoted team, Southampton, is back in the Premier League. I'm actually excited for Southampton to be back. It's actually like, I guess, third favorite team. Second favorite team is West Ham. Third is Southampton for me. Personal reasons. But yeah, their outs and ins. I mean, the outs are Romain Perot. I'm not sure whether you know who, but I know him. Lianco and all that. Their transfer, they sign a lot of players, but unfortunately, we do not know a lot. But one of the most interesting signing was the Kuryu Matsuki. They signed from FC Tokyo. They signed all the way from Japan, and one of the major signing that they signed is Ben Brereton Diaz from Villarreal, which they do need striker. And to me, I think so far, this has been a productive window for them. They signed a lot of players which we may not know of, but I'm looking at the depth. I think they have signed like I think 8 players so far, but most of it are slightly unknown. Um, if you ask me, I think I'll give this actual 6 as well. 6 upon 10. What about you?
Yeah, I'll probably give it a 5. Yeah, it's like it's even. It's even, pretty average.
All right. Following now, we have Tottenham Hotspur. They sold Ryan Sessegnon back to Fulham. Of course, Eric Dyer is gone. Ivan Perisic is gone. Tengai Ndombele is released. Uh, Højbjerg is being loaned out, I think, or something like that. But they only have one major signing, which we have spoken earlier, Dominic Solanke. It is probably a much needed signing ever since Hurricane is gone. So just for Solanke alone, I'll give it a 6, really.
Mm,
Maybe
okay.
5. I'll give a 5.
Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely gonna give a 5. Here's the reason why. Because they still have Richarlison. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it'll be quite interesting to see how they're gonna pair up. Although there are rumors that perhaps Richarlison might be on the way out, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
All right, next up, last 2 teams. We have West Ham, my second favorite team. Of course, one that are out, Ogbonna is released. Tilo Kerrer was transferred out. Ben Johnson was sold. Said Ben Rama was sold. The one that came in is Luis Guilherme from Palmeiras, which seems to be a prospect from the South America League. They signed Crescencio Somerville from Leeds. The major signings is Niklas Fulkrok from Dortmund, who is playing in the German national team first 11. I think he played for the Euros as well. And of course, the last minute signing was Jean-Claire Todibo. Uh, I think Juventus wanted to sign him, but ended up West Ham took him in the last minute. So yeah, I'm actually quite liking this one. I'm giving it a 6. What about you?
Yeah, not bad so far. For a club like West Ham, I think what they're doing so far has been quite active in the market as compared to other Premier League teams. So yeah, I'll probably give it a high 6. Yeah.
All right. Oh, I forgot to mention Max Kilman from Wolves, which is
Ah,
one of the
yeah.
Wolves main signing, one of Wolves main player by West Ham signed. And yeah, I think 6, we can be easily near 7, but I think Man United is still top of the list. Lastly, Wolverhampton Wanderers, they sold Max Kilmer, which I mentioned earlier, to West Ham. And that's their major sell, but they signed a lot of players. Rodrigo Gomez from Braga, Jorgen Strand Larsen from Celta Vigo, and all that. I think I'm giving this a flat out 4. Just average at the moment because not much happening, but they do sign some players, so at least there are some activity and squad depth are there. What would you give? Mr. JB?
Yeah, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. So I would say I'll give average 4. Not much activity there. Yes, they kind of have the depth, but not much activity. So I'll probably give it slightly below average, probably a 4.
All right. And that wraps up for today's episode of podcast for today. Thank you guys so much for joining us as we wrap up like a bit of SPL, Olympic, and the whole transfer window of the EPL teams. Do let us know, comment down below what you guys think so far of our ratings. What did you make of their signing so far and all that? Were we right? Were we wrong? Let us know down below. Don't forget to press the like, comment down below what you guys think. And more importantly, to share and subscribe. Do stick around for part 2, and me, Mr. JB, gonna do the full prediction of our Premier League in the Tier List Maker part 2. So do stick around. And Mr. JB, we'll see you later. And for the rest, we'll see you guys next time. Take care.